Dear students, we have been discussing with the application of microbiology in various fields. We discussed the environmental microbiology and agricultural microbiology. Today we can discuss the industrial microbiology, that is the application of microbiology in industrial purposes. There are so many characteristics which make the microorganism very suitable for the industrial purposes. They are ability to grow rapidly. Microorganism will grow very rapidly and they will produce so many chemicals. Then they are amenable to be cultured in large quantities. These are user friendly. They can be cultured in large quantities easily, and they have got an ability to maintain physiological consistency, and their production or the consistency of their products will be same. We don't want to moderate or regulate any chemical reaction for the production of particular products in industry, because the microorganism will produce some products in a consistent manner. Then ability to carry out the transformation and manufacture the product under comparatively simple and manageable environmental conditions, and without the application of excessive amount of external energy. This is the very important characteristic which make a microorganism very suitable for the production of some important industrial products, because they can involve or they can go on continuously producing some chemicals or some byproducts or some metabolic products, and we don't want to regulate any reactions because they are living organisms, and we don't want to apply some enzymes or any other key chemicals like pH regulating chemicals, etc. So first one is organic chemicals. So many organic chemicals, very important organic chemicals needed in our day-to-day life and industrial purposes, are produced with the use of or by utilizing microorganisms. You know, microorganisms have been used for the production of lactic acid, alcohol, etc. Here, yeast is a fungus. Yeast is a fungus, and Zymomonas mobilis is a bacterium. They are used for the fermentation of carbohydrates into alcohol. Okay. Then Lactobacillus is used for, that's a bacterium, genus bacterium. Lactobacillus is used for the production of lactic acid. Acetobacter is used for the production of citric acid. Then acetone, butanol, and ethanol are produced by Clostridium acetobutylicum. Then yeast and a bacterium Bacillus subtilis are used for the production of vitamins. Escherichia coli, Corynebacterium, Brevibacterium, and Pseudomonas dacunae are used for the production of amino acids. Then recyclable plastic is produced by the Ralstonia eutropha. Polyesters are produced by the Mucor mehe and Candida antarctica. Then acrylamide is produced using Rhodococcus. So these are the microorganisms you have to study as example for the production of so many industrial products. Here we have discussed the industrial products such as alcohol, citric acid, acetone, butanol, ethanol, then vitamins, amino acids, recyclable plastics, polyesters, etc. So you have to study all this and write in a bullet manner. in the exam. It's very wonderful that the Western world, Western countries won the both the world wars, and it is said that they won these wars because they have a dominance or superiority over other countries in the production of these industrial products such as ethanol, acetone, and butanol for the production of nitroglycerin and cellulose nitrate. Nitroglycerin and cellulose nitrate are used as propellants for their warships. Warships. So these nitroglycerin and cellulose nitrate are produced with ethanol, acetone, and butanol. And these ethanol, acetone, and butanol are produced by Clostridium acetobutylicum. The Western countries knew the strategy to produce ethanol, acetone, and butanol by utilizing Clostridium acetobutylicum. So they could produce nitroglycerin and cellulose nitrate very easily without much manpower and energy at a low cost. So they used it very lavishly as propellants in their warships, and they won the world wars. It is said so. Okay. Then microorganisms are employed for the production of 70% of the world's output of these organic solvents. They are ethanol, acetone, and butanol. They are important solvents. Then 80% of citric acid, lactic acid, acetic acid, and more than 90% of amino acids, vitamins, and 100% of ethanol are produced by microorganisms. So from this you can understand the importance of microorganisms in the production of so many important industrial products. So next we can discuss another important industrial product regarding the food of human beings and other organisms. They are called single cell proteins and food supplements. What is meant by single cell? Single cell means unicellular organism, and single cell protein means the protein rich unicellular organisms. We can see what it is. The microorganisms which have got abundant biomass enriched with proteins are called single cell proteins. They are generally set as or generally called as single cell proteins or SCPs. SCPs. Alga species like Spirulina maxima, Senidesmus acutus, then bacteria such as Achromobacter divacuate, Cellumonas, spelling you have to notice, Achromobacter divacuate, then Cellumonas, then Pseudomonas species. Then fungi. Fungi such as Saccharomyces cerevisiae, our common yeast, then Candida lipolytica, then mushrooms such as Agaricus combestris. These are the microorganisms rich in proteins. So this can be used as the source of proteins in our daily food or the production of so many food supplements or packed food. And this type of food such as Spirulina maxima and Senidesmus acutus, they are algal species. These are used as capsules for the spaceships. The astronauts cannot carry much food to the space, so they will carry the capsules of Spirulina maxima and Senidesmus acutus with them, and they will consume that, and it will provide this species will provide, this microorganism will provide so many proteins in their diet. Then another important, very important industrial product used for the production of so many other industrial products. These are enzymes. You know, enzymes are usually produced inside the body of organisms. They are proteins. And these enzymes will work as catalysts in so many biochemical reactions inside the body. Or in each step of the metabolism, there is a need of enzymes. In the case of glycolysis itself, you know, glucose is converted to glucose 6-phosphate with the help of hexokinase. Okay, then glucose 6-phosphate is converted to glucose 1,6-biphosphate with the enzyme isomerase. So in each step of metabolism, there is an enzyme. And for the production of enzymes industrially, we can use some microorganisms. And these industrially produced enzymes can be used as medicines. You know, if you have got indigestion or if you have got some lack of absorption, you can avail a tablet called unizyme from the pharmacy. And unizyme is a set of enzymes that will promote digestion in your body. And so many other industrial products like so many enzymes are daily consumed or daily prescribed for so many illness in our body. So microbial enzymes are now produced at industrial levels for the use as, you can see, other applications of enzymes, detergents and cleaning agents. Then in the case of textile processing of food, etc. You know, food processing technology is a very promising industrial field now. And for the production of so many value added food, we will have to use the enzymes for the conversion of so many food products into other forms. So here we have discussed another thing. The enzyme can be used in the as detergents. How the enzymes can be used as detergents? Detergents, you know, washing powder is a detergent, washing liquid is a detergent. So washing powder and washing liquid has got the capacity to digest the lipid compounds. Actually, the dirty parts or the contamination or the dirt in our clothes are rich in lipids, so many lipids. That's why they are tightly bound with the cloths. If we apply the detergent with lipase enzymes, these dirts will be easily degraded into similar compounds and they will be cleared from the cloth. That's why it is said that enzymes are used as detergents and cleaning agents. Then enzymes in eco-friendly household detergents will reduce the dangers of eutrophication because of the reduction in the use of phosphate. You know, synthetic detergents are rich in phosphate. So if we use the synthetic detergents in water bodies, you know, the ladies will visit water bodies for washing, large scale washing in older times. During this time, the phosphate content in the detergent will cause eutrophication in that water body because phosphate is a very rich nutrient or very good nutrient for plants or algae. So this phosphate will cause eutrophication in the water bodies. Synthetic synthetic detergents contain a lot of phosphate, which will cause abundant growth of algae in water bodies. But if we use the enzymes rich detergents instead of the synthetic detergents, we can mitigate the problem of the eutrophication. That is a very important or promising application of the microbial enzymes as a product of industry. Then Another important and highly promising application of industrial microbiology is the production of biodegradable plastics. What is meant by biodegradable plastics? Plastic is any polychemicals. Polyethylene is a plastic. Polypropylene is a plastic. So these chemicals are used for the production of so many articles in our day-to-day life, especially the polythene covers, then polythene fabrication, polypropylene seat covers, etc. But these are not biodegradable. So instead of using these synthetic polychemicals, we can use proposedly so many polybiochemicals such as polylactic acid. Polylactic acid is almost equivalent to the polyethylene in its texture and capacity. Polylactic acid can be synthesized by the microbes such as lactobacillus, alkaligens, and pseudomonas. So if we produce the polylactic acid in large scale by utilizing these microorganisms, this polylactic acid can be molded into plastic covers and some other important articles of uh, plastic. So after use, these polylactic acid materials can be discarded or dumped into ecosystem that will be degraded by the microorganism because that is organic product. Polylactic acid is an organic product. Microorganism will act on that and they will be degraded into simple inorganic minerals and that can be absorbed by the plants. So that's a very good important application of the industrial microbiology. So we can pretty simply hope that the biodegradable plastic will come to rule our daily life and that we can mitigate the problem of plastic pollution. Okay, we can discuss very important and helpful application of the microorganism in the mining industry. What is meant by mining? Mining means the excavation of so many industrially important minerals and metals. And this profession is very dangerous because the people have to go kilometers and kilometers, like Mohanlal said, deep underground for the excavation of some important minerals. And during this time, it is likely that the landslide will occur in that cave or the mine and the laborers may die. And in order to mitigate the problem of the human labor, we can use the microorganisms in the mine and these microorganisms will extract or degrade the ores or means in Malayalam ore means aire. From ore we can extract the important minerals and metals. Microorganisms live or derive energy from organic compounds. We have been discussing the decomposition or degradation capacity of the microorganisms. A microorganism act on so many organic compounds and convert into other products. Actually, they do this because they can derive energy from these organic compounds. And actually, what we obtain from the reaction of the microorganism is that their metabolic products or the byproducts of the oxidation or the living process of the microorganism on the organic products. Glucose is converted into glucose 6-phosphate in a metabolic reaction. Similarly, pyruvic acid will be converted into lactic acid. So in each of these steps, oxidation will occur. What is meant by oxidation? Oxidation means the reduction of the, breakdown of the, oxidation means the breakdown of the organic compounds into simpler forms. So breakdown is called oxidation. Okay, degradation is called oxidation. So the microorganism will act on so many organic compounds and oxidize them. During this oxidation reaction, they will produce energy. But as a result of this oxidation reaction, so many byproducts will be produced. These byproducts will be sometimes of useful to human beings. That's why they are used for industrial purposes. So we can see how these microorganisms are used for the production of important elements or minerals in the mines. ഖനികളിൽ എങ്ങനെ ഉപയോഗിക്കാം. So the microorganisms will act on the ores of elements and bring about the oxidation of that ores, and this process is called leaching or bioleaching. So the characteristic feature of microbes is used on a large scale for the enrichment and recovery of the desired metal by a process called bioleaching. I will just read the explanation of the bioleaching. It will be asked as 1 mark or 2 marks. Bioleaching or microbial leaching is the process by which microorganisms are used to dissolve elements or their compounds from more complex substances, forming aqueous solutions from which the elements may be recovered by further processing. Okay, so the ores or large organic compounds will be acted upon by the microorganisms, and they will bring about the oxidation and produce so many minor elements or dissolvable elements in aqueous forms, dissolvable elements, and they can be used for the production or the extraction of the important elements such as copper, gold, iron, manganese, uranium, etc. So the examples of the microorganism used for the production of the elements are Thiobacillus thiooxidans, Thiobacillus ferrooxidans, Bacillus megatherium, Pseudomonas fluorescens, Deinococcus radiodurans. These are the microorganisms largely employed for the production of so many industrially important elements or metals in the mines. Here you have got an example. Ferrous sulfide is converted into ferrous sulfate by the microorganism Thiobacillus ferrooxidans. Similarly, other important microorganisms are used for the production of the elements, especially in the case of radioactive elements. These are extracted with the use of microorganisms. So there will be a lot of advantages of using microbes in the mining industry. We can see what they are. Involvement of humans in potentially hazardous situations can be minimized by the use of microorganisms, especially in the case of radiodurans, Deinococcus radiodurans. They are used in the processing of radioactive uranium. So human labor can be minimized and the hazardous event can be reduced. Then low cost of processing is very important advantage, because if we employ the microorganism, we can reduce the cost of the production in the mine. Then even low yielding ores can also be produced, because we don't want to utilize much power, much electricity and manpower. So even low yielding elements can be produced by the microorganisms. Then production of useful waste such as sulfuric acid and iron. These sulfuric acid and iron are important waste products of so many oxidation stuffs of microorganisms, and they can be extracted. Then reduced dependency on the use of costly electric power. If we employ the human power for the extraction of the elements in the mines, we will have to use a lot of machines and lighting. So all these need electricity, and the electricity can be reduced by the use of microorganisms, because they don't need light or any machines or electric machines in their oxidation steps. Then another important application of the microorganism in industry is that the microorganism can be easily manipulated by regulating the food we give them. Actually, we employ microorganisms for the conversion of organic compounds into other forms. If we regulate the nutrient status of the organic compounds we provide to these microorganisms, we can regulate the lifestyle of microorganism, by which sometimes this microorganism may undergo mutation. So if we manipulate the chemical status or nutrient status of the organic compound we provide to microorganisms, sometimes these microorganisms may undergo mutation. Okay, metabolic engineering, that is what is called metabolic engineering, means manipulation or uh, the changing of nutrient status may cause some conversion or transformation of the microorganism. That is what is called metabolic engineering. So, metabolic engineering involves the induction of inactive genes of microorganisms by manipulating the raw materials, physical and chemical factors, and nutrients in the culture system. So, if we manipulate, if we change the nutrient system or chemical factors or physical factors or any composition of the raw materials we provide to the microorganisms, there will be chance for the change in the genes of the microorganisms. You know, genetic engineering is the change or the transformation of gene or genetic component of the organisms. But we will or we can transform the genetic status or genetic composition of microorganisms by altering the raw materials, physical and chemical factors, and nutrients in the culture system. So by this process, genetic uh, composition will be changed, and that change or transformation is called metabolic engineering. So we can control or we can regulate the production of important chemicals by doing metabolic engineering. Okay, so mutants will be produced by these alterations in the raw materials, and the culture techniques and techniques for optimizing yield as well as for efficient harvesting of the product are then fine-tuned for maximum efficiency. Okay, so these are the important application of the microorganisms in industrial purpose. And we have got one more portion to describe in this session, that is the bioreactor, or important application of the microorganisms are brought about by use of large culture vessels. So there are so many important steps or important points which are to be noted, because bioreactor utilizes the uh, metabolism and organic compounds for the large scale production of important industrial products, and that will be discussed in a separate session. Now we can wind up with this. Okay.